Video cast for the week of October the 3rd, 2010, but we always go over the aspects of the prior week because we thought that the last week was very eventful. It was during a period, what I call a moon wobble, when the lunar nodes are square the solar eclipse that had just occurred in July and August, and that usually you get a repeat of the events that had occurred in the last solar eclipse, and that was certainly true this time. We have a repeat of some of the events that occurred during the Cardinal Climax of July and August of this year. Particularly is that we noticed that we had again very severe weather, that there was a major landslide in Mexico. They thought there were 1,000 people that were buried under that landslide, but it only turned out, they think, that there were 7. Much less, but there was severe weather. And then the WikiLeaks was back in the news that Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, is being tracked by Australian authorities. And if you remember, he released like 75,000 documents, and he's about to release another 15,000. So the U.S. is getting Australia and its friends to help them in the tracking of the founder. So they're doing what I call, I guess, spy harassment. And then the stock market was definitely in the news, not in the way I thought, because again, last summer we thought there was going to be another dip in the stock market. I thought there was a possibility we could see another dip. It had gone down, but it still closed high enough that even though it's 3% down from the market high of this year, it was the strongest September they've ever had in the past 75 years, since 1939, that it had closed up. So that was a surprise, but I still have my fingers crossed in some ways that we're still going to see a second dip, but I don't think we'll see that until December, because the rest of the aspects for October and November are pretty mild. So more events is that Ecuador had a major possible coup, that the police were so upset with the cut of their wages and benefits that they literally captured the President Correa and kept him in a hospital for 12 hours while they were committing a partial revolt, you can say, but it didn't wind up being successful. The police did that in Quito until the soldiers, national soldiers, came in and had him released. That was on Thursday and Friday. And notice at the same time that the French are having protests in Paris on Friday and Saturday. They were 100,000 strong, and they were protesting the reduction of benefits and the belt tightening that the French are talking about. So we have those both happening at the same time, and then that there was a terrorist threat in EU, saying there's ongoing plots and activity that are in UK, France, and Germany. So they're frightening us again. And then I thought that was most interesting is there were 3 events occurring with young people, students, very young, and a lot of it has to do with whether or not you're gay or not. But it started out on Tuesday in my hometown in Austin, Texas, that we had, it looked like a gunman starting out in UT and went onto campus with an assault rifle, an AK-47, was shooting up in the air, and the police run after him, and he runs up into the library to the 8th floor, and he kills himself. So it was an apparent suicide. His name was Colton Tooley. Note that he was 19 years old. And then the police do a lockdown for all of UT, run all 50,000 students and staff off the campus and have a lockdown for the rest of the day. And then the same day, on the 27th, there's news that Seth Walsh, a 13-year-old that had committed suicide by hanging himself on September 19th, he went into a coma, but he died on the 27th, and the reason he hung himself was that he was being teased for being gay at his school, and this was in the news in Bakersfield, California. It actually happened, Tallahatchie, California. And then again, the same week, that Wednesday and the Thursday of the 28th and the 29th, that there was major news that Tyler Clemente, 18, had committed suicide by jumping off a bridge on the 22nd of September. But the reason it was in the news is that the police were arresting Durham Ravi and Molly Way, both 18, that were the students that had videotaped Tyler's gay sex act with another student by remotely turning on a webcam, that they had together had done cyber terrorism, and so the police had arrested him, and Rutgers University had a memorial for him. So note that we have 4 students that are 18 and 19 years old, and then a 3rd student, and they're all committing suicide during this moon wobble period. And remember, we've had the Mars-Venus conjunction in Scorpio, which creates very intense aspects for feelings and for emotionality and with sex, all at the same time, happening during this period of moon wobble. The forecast for October 3rd, 2010, this is for the entire week. We are getting done with the centering of a moon wobble that was last week, that was quite dramatic. But today starts with the moon still in Leo, and it is squaring the Mars-Venus conjunction that's in Scorpio. So anyone that's a fixed sign, that's in the middle of the fixed sign from 12 to 15 degrees, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, this can be a difficult day for you. However, it is a high creative day for originality, for new thinking, for invention that pertains for the bulk of the week. And then on Sunday, that's Sunday the 3rd, on Monday the 4th, the moon is still in Leo, and it is in opposition to Neptune. So it's great for artistic or poetic or musical creation, but it is also making people susceptible for magical thinking, where they're trying to escape from reality. But from a authoring, from a poetic, from a writing point of view, it's still very good. It's a week of emotionality because Venus and Mars are still conjunct in the middle of Scorpio. That will be true until the end of the week, and they will finally separate, and relationships can be more normal and less intense. Then on Tuesday, the moon moves into Virgo, and it's sextile the Venus and Mars. That makes it for a much better day, for a better communication, for getting along with people, for maybe resolving differences. So if there was a time to reconcile or to try and smooth over feelings, Tuesday is the best day for that. Wednesday is the 6th, and the moon is still in Virgo, but this time it is coming so close to the Mercury, Saturn, and moon squaring the Pluto-Uranus. This is a fairly negative day. People get stuck in their beliefs, so people are isolated from each other. They just dig in their heels and are totally stuck. And then on Thursday is a new moon, so it's an opportunity to start afresh. And the moon moves into Libra, so therefore all the Libras are in their cycle high, all the Aries are in their cycle low. But it is a much better day than on Wednesday. And Friday I consider one of the, on Thursday I consider to be one of the most difficult days of the week. I would think that the stock market would be difficult too. And on Friday, I would think that you would anticipate to see volatility in the stock market because of the sun coming to an exact square of the lunar node. The moon is still in Libra, so it continues to be a cycle high for Librans, and a cycle low for Aries. And then on Saturday, I consider that to be, again, a very intense emotional day for personal relationships.